Okay, boys and girls, hope you enjoyed that wee clip and I hope you find it helpful. And now we're going to read the next part of our Promises of God Storybook Bible, and we're in this part here. It's called The Broken Promise. Okay? You see, God had given Adam and Eve this wonderful, beautiful world to live in. But in this part of the story, Adam and Eve stopped listening to God and they stopped trusting God, and everything begins to go wrong. So let's have a wee listen. God gave Adam and Eve a beautiful, adventurous world. They lived in a garden filled with animals and streams and rocks and fields and hills and flowers. It was such a perfect place to live. These brand new people had everything they needed, and everything was good because that's how God made it. God knew what was best for Adam and Eve, and because He had made them and He had made their hearts, so He knew how to look after them and He knew what would be best. He knew that there was one rule that Adam and Eve needed. Remember how God had promised to always provide everything that they needed, that they would always have the food that they needed? Well, God told them something else. When God told them that they could eat from any of the trees that He had made with the fruit on the trees, He said that there was one tree that was forbidden. That means it was against the rules. They couldn't eat from this tree. This was the tree that was called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam and Eve that if they ate from this tree, that they would die. Nothing had ever died before. God had told Adam and Eve that they would always have the food that they needed, and they understood this. And they enjoyed being in God's beautiful garden, and they were happy, and their hearts were connected to God. Everything was perfect. Until one day, everything changed forever for all of us. A snake started talking to Eve. Seriously, a snake? Yes, this was a snake who was so bad, and he didn't want Adam and Eve to obey God anymore. He wanted to break that special relationship. He wanted to break that special promise. And so he said to Eve, "Hey Eve, did God really tell you not to eat from that tree?" Eve remembered what God had said, so she probably thought that that was an easy question. She looked at the tree and then she said to the snake something like, "Yep, that's what God told us. He said we could have fruit from any other tree in the garden, but we can't have fruit from this tree. If we eat from it, we will die." She had heard what God said and she had remembered what God said. Except the snake didn't actually want to know what God said. He just wanted to make Eve stop believing what God had said. So the snake said, "No, you won't die. You'll not die if you eat that fruit. God knows that if you eat that fruit, you'll become like Him. If you eat that fruit, your eyes will be opened and you will become like God, and you will know the things that God knows." That wasn't true, but you know what? Eve had stopped listening to God and started listening to the snake. She looked back at the tree, and it was a really pretty tree, and the fruit looked so yummy. So even though God had told her and told Adam not to eat the fruit or they would die, Eve reached out her hand, took some fruit off the tree, and took a bite. And then, do you know what? She gives them to Adam, and what did he do? Adam ate the fruit as well. God had told them the truth of what would happen. God always tells the truth. And so when Adam and Eve ate the fruit, their hearts were immediately different. Something had changed.